Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And of course, here's your meme of the day brought to you by FiveMind.com. You know, forever they labeled us conspiracy theorists. We were engaging in fake news. It was all just Republican talking points made to make the Democrats look bad. But I think at this point, it's as clear as daylight. You know, the Democrats played coy and they played stupid. They also explicitly lied in our frickin' faces. Either the border was actually secure and Republicans were just lying, or, oh, you know, it's a complicated issue. It's not our fault. It's just totally mismanaged. That's why the border's in chaos. Well, I think President Trump's first month in office after the 2024 election really added some clarity at the end of the day. But again, this wasn't a mismanaged border. It wasn't an issue that was too complex to fix without congressional action. No, simply it was that Democrats were weaponizing illegal immigration. An interesting word that keeps popping up, huh? Weaponize. The way Democrats weaponize everything. Basically, the strategy was to turn a mass illegal entry into a conveyor belt for them for political power. An unimpeded path. Who needs to win on the grassroots? Who needs to win on the issues? When you could mass import voters. Bring people in under emergency parole, essentially, as Stephen Miller's putting it. Hand them work permits. Give them social security numbers. Give them welfare. And then pressure all your Democrat strongholds and blue enclaves to change voting laws and expand participation. Oh no, we don't want to suppress people's vote, now do we? And anybody who questions whether the votes are legitimate, anybody who questions our agenda, well, simply just smear them as cruel or as racists. And the craziest part is these are the people who went on for years and still go on, lecturing you about democracy. It's as backwards as it gets. But at this point, I think their entire strategy, it's been exposed, folks. And Stephen Miller just took to the media and exposed the Democrats' whole power pipeline for all to hear. Let's continue to talk about this very important issue. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks. So like I said, Stephen Miller's not holding anything back. Take a look.
This was not a loophole. The Biden administration, Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas, devised a scheme to fly illegal aliens into the country and then to escort them en masse across the border by the millions, and to give them something known as parole, which gives them a work permit, which gives them a social security number, which gives them access to the voting booth. This was the plan all along, to get them here illegally so they can get free government benefits, get hooked to welfare, and be able to participate in American elections. This was an attack on democracy by the Democrat Party. It's the same attack that we see, Sean, when you have California, a sanctuary state, that is refusing to turn over even illegal alien criminals and gang members to ICE. So these are illegal aliens in California who have been arrested by California police, by California law enforcement for serious crimes, for crimes against children, for felonies, for crimes that threaten public safety, and they are refusing to hand these criminal illegal aliens over to ICE. Instead, they're freeing them back into the cities to offend and offend again. By any definition, what California is doing is criminal. It is a violation of our laws. It is one of the most heinous things that I have seen in my entire life in Washington.
And that right there was the scheme. Essentially, mass illegal immigration parole at scale for hundreds of thousands, millions of people. I think we heard at one point, what was the number? Like 500,000 temporary working status kind of quasi visas, I guess you could call it, for illegal migrants. I believe it was mostly Haitians. And of course, that moves into work permits, social security numbers, and then ballots and benefits. Then of course, muddy the waters once you start issuing cards and social security numbers. It's hard to tell who's legitimate and who isn't. Then what follows is the entire administrative state completely crumbling under the pressure. And obviously that was part of the strategy. Bring in millions upon millions of people who are ineligible, who are illegal citizens, give them quasi-eligibility, and then what do? You get mass anchor babies. Ooh, an entire new generation of Democrat voters. Then work tirelessly to protect it all, right? You got all the NGOs who are working the system, embedding illegals in all the public services and programs, sanctuary city policies that block ICE and protect these people from deportation. You got the mainstream media obviously providing cover and trying to confuse the conversation constantly. Then all the legal minds and lawyers, and of course judges and their injunctions, attempting to block the administration from doing the right thing. That if you have an issue with this illegitimate Democrat power grab, then you're the bad person. You're cruel. Oh, you're a fascist. You're a racist. You're a white nationalist. What are you, a Christo-fascist white nationalist MAGA orange man? No, you're a person with freaking common sense. A person who loves their country and doesn't want to see it co-opted, doesn't want to see it conquered. You know, back in the day, countries were conquered by force, by war, by violence. Nowadays, it seems countries are conquered by Democrat bureaucracy. You know, it's rich coming from these Democrats who are constantly lecturing you about illegitimate power grabs that the president is supposedly engaging in. Well, who's really engaging in illegitimate power grabs? It's them, of course. It's always projection. Here's another element of it. Byron Donalds lays it all out here.
They're filibustering this to try and prop up a bunch of half-assed candidates in places like the Commonwealth of Virginia and Jersey. It's a filibuster. That's brilliant on his part to call it, to start talking about it the way, what it is.
You are absolutely right. What's going on in the United States Senate now is that it is better for the Democrats just to obstruct and actually work on real common sense solution. Donald Trump came into office. He secured our border. We have 0 illegal border crossings. But let me inform the American people. Those are executive orders from President Trump. In order for his policy on the southern border to become law, you got to get it through the Senate, which means you have to clear the filibuster. The Senate Democrats are not going to allow his border policies to become law because they opposed it. They supported Joe Biden and his radical border policies. That's reason number one. Reason number two, I just mentioned visas. HB1s are a scam. It needs to end. If you're going to reform visas, you got to be able to get rid of the filibuster to do it the right way for the American people. And we can go down the list. Energy, spending policy, etc. Regulatory burdens in the United States of America on every business, large and small.
That's right.
The obstructionists are the Senate Democrats because they follow Bernie Sanders, they follow Elizabeth Warren, they follow AOC, and the crazy, radical Marxist left. Let me clear this up for everybody. And I know people are concerned about the filibuster. Here's the facts. If the Democrats have the trifecta, they're gonna use it. They're gonna get rid of the filibuster, they're gonna pack the courts, they're gonna make DC a state, and they're gonna change every election law in this country so they hard code America into universal Democrat control for as far as the eye can see. The Democrats have said this, they're on the record. That's their plan, that's their position.
Right.
And so I take them at their word, which is why we need to push common sense policy. It's time for the filibuster to go.
Exactly, there it is. Kill the filibuster, jam the courts, rewrite election rules, redefine the concept of asylum. Now asylum applies to literally anybody who is poorer than you and comes from a different country. Oh, is your house not big enough in your developing country? Are you not driving a Maserati? Oh, well, poor you. You must be a refugee. Here's an iPhone. Here's welfare. Here's a social security number. Here's a free house. Want to stay in a 5-star hotel in New York City? Go right on ahead. The taxpayers will foot the freaking bill. Our NGOs will guide you through every little step. Just make sure you have as many kids as possible, and then we'll give you welfare and food benefits per child. Have as many as you possibly can, and make sure when they're 18 years old, they register as Democrats and vote for more of this. Come on. Anything but winning properly. Anything but engaging in actual politics. No, it's all about demographics with these Democrats. That's how California went blue, right? Used to be a red stronghold. That's how Texas is moving blue. They don't want to win by having the best arguments, the best policies, the best ideas. No, of course not. They just want to stack the Supreme Court. They want to make Puerto Rico and DC a state. They want to redistrict to the absolute extreme, and then when Republicans do it, pretend as if, oh, it's a constitutional crisis. Give me a freaking break. The Democrat Party, I mean, that's the biggest irony. The naming itself is inherently hypocritical. There's nothing democratic about these people. They're power hungry and they'll do anything to weaponize the system to ensure the outcome that they're looking for, which is more Democrat power grabs. And that's why what President Trump is doing right now is so important. It's all about the incentives. Again, these people are not legitimate refugees, at least the majority of them. The large majority out of 10 million people that came in under Joe Joe Biden, probably more. Probably less than 1, maybe 1% were actual legitimate refugees with real cases. The rest of the people, they were just coming for the incentives. But if the incentives dry out, if you're no longer being paid to come, if you're no longer getting free food, housing, yada, 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 healthcare, of course, well, then you're probably going to stay in your country. Because again, you're not facing persecution. You probably stay where it's familiar, where you have a decent life. You got to cut off the system that legitimizes the illegal migrant. You have to undo all the damage that Joe Biden did. And then, of course, I think probably the most important thing, you got to end this anchor baby nonsense. Birthright citizenship. Obviously, the founding fathers did not intend for that to be used in the way that it's being used. No, clearly it had much more to do with slaves and the children of slaves being granted citizenship, and now it's just being abused. You gotta cut off the incentives. You gotta fix the broken system. Democrats are always talking about the broken immigration system. Well, if anything, what I just laid out, those are the issues. I think it's even less about securing the border and more about the policies, more about the perverse incentives that Democrats are clearly abusing, and that right there should be the focus, which to a certain extent it seems like it is. I'm not sure if this administration is willing to go as far as fighting a legal battle on birthright citizenship in the Supreme Court, but knowing Stephen Miller's view of birthright citizenship, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the next step. The system is broken, and Democrats want to continue breaking it, and that, of course, has got to stop. Their perverse, corrupt agenda must be thwarted. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.